I'd like to welcome Halley to the show, my new co-host. How did I even pop up on your feed?
I honestly have no idea. I was just super curious about making a podcast and you were already doing it.
Yeah, and it just so happened that I was not directly looking for anyone, but I was like,
I'm perfect.
No way. You of all people, watching CMAs for country, watching AMAs for American Music Awards. I thought about this a long time ago, but why isn't there one for EDM?
I was waiting on all fours.
Funko Pop AI blew up on Twitter. One day I opened, or X, and at first I was like, okay, enough of this. But then it was like, okay, this is actually kind of creative. What are your thoughts on AI?
Irreplaceable.
Genius. Yeah. Do you have any New Year's resolutions for this year?
The ultimate one, I think, is just continuing to grow my network.
Well, with the podcast, it'll help
Exactly.
you. I've had Christian artists on before in our scene, but the one thing that I haven't done ever is read the whole Bible. And I think it'll just make me even closer to God and, bring me closer to my goals. Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome back to the Underground Society podcast. Thank you for joining us today. We're doing things a little differently. We took some time off because we had some restructure going on, and I'd like to welcome Halley to the show, my new co-host. And today we're going to start off with a little bit of just interview questions from her to me. She's going to interview me a little bit, and then we're going to get into some other stuff after that. But why don't you start us off, Halley? What questions you got for me?
Yeah. So the first thing I want to know, how did you get into the music industry? Or what was your inspiration for the podcast?
Yeah, I've told this story on other podcasts before, but basically I grew up just loving music. My mom was a huge concert goer. I went to my first concert when I was 3 years old. Just grew up going, live music, loving live music on my mom's side. It's kind of funny because my dad's side, they're not music lovers at all. And my mom's side is super music lovers, always, family vacations, always listening to music and everything, and following certain artists. And what I do now as far as A&R work, we almost just naturally did as a family when I was growing up. So it was just kind of, once I got introduced to the EDM stuff, when I was about 18, I actually got introduced to the EDM world from one of my friends who was a lead guitarist at my church growing up. I think we became friends in 8th grade or something, and then went through all of high school together, obviously best friends. And then once we graduated, he got introduced to some other group of friends. Fine, we all make different friends, but got introduced to some other different group of friends, and they were ravers, which is funny because none of that group raves anymore. But he introduced me to my first rave group. And I remember we were at the gym and he was like, dude, I went to my first rave. And I was like, no way. You went to a rave? You of all people? There was always this negative stigma around, raving and, the party scene and yada, yada. And at the time we were only 18. So still young. We weren't of drinking age yet. So it was just kind of a weird, him of all people. And then, yeah, he brought me to my first rave, instantly fell in love, knew I wanted more EDM in my life and to keep going to raves and keep going to events and stuff. And, love the people, love the environment. And I grew up, in youth group and very close, brotherhood, family type of feel with that group of people. And I got a similar feeling being around ravers and people who are in the rave scene. So then, yeah, and then slowly but surely, just, I was going to a bunch of events because I loved it. And I saw an opportunity to join a promotion team. I was able to promote their shows, and then instead of paying a bunch of money for tickets every week almost, at the time I was going out a lot, I was able to go to these events for free by promoting. So I kind of got my foot in the door there. And then for that same promotion team, I know they put on the show. So I was like, hey, if you guys ever need any help, I'd love to learn stage production and putting stages together. So I did that for 3 years, and then it happened, stopped raving. And I was like, man, I still want to be connected to this industry. And at the time I had already during the production stuff, I started seeing kind of how the business side of things worked. And both my parents being entrepreneurs, I just had a natural business instinct, I guess, within me. So in modern business, you see a lot of podcasts and vloggers and YouTube and creators kind of attaching themselves to business. So I was like, and I didn't really see too much of that in the EDM world. So I was like, you know what? Why don't I create this for myself? So that's kind of where the podcast started. And now we're here. So yeah, long story short, that's kind of how I got here.
The EDM community has a way of doing that to people, of just sucking you in and never letting you go.
Yep. And it's been I'm 26, we'll be 27. So it's almost been 10 years now that I've been a part of the rave community. So
yeah, I got on that same timeline. Was there a specific moment where you knew this was what you wanted to do? Or have you always had a love for journalism?
Ooh, no, actually, writing public. I've always been good at public speaking, and I took video production classes and stuff in high school. I took all 4 years. I took video production just because I loved the YouTube stuff. I've always been a fan of YouTube. I've always been a fan of creator stuff. But the music stuff kind of, like I just kind of said, it kind of just slowly built on itself, and it was just like I just kept wanting more, and I wanted more, and I wanted more, and I was like, I really want to do this for the rest of my life. I don't really know when that moment happened, but once that did happen, or once I did decide that, then I was like, okay, how can I position myself? I don't want to be the artist. I don't want to be like the main guy or like the star, but how can I position myself in this industry to make this an actual career? So it's honestly just slowly built over time.
I love that. So you talked about going back to school a couple times, and I want to know more about that.
Yeah, Icon Collective. I've been talking about this since I think probably episode 1 is when I first brought it up. And it was before this podcast I even started this podcast, is when I wanted to go. Unfortunately, financial stuff happened this past 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Let's preface this. I'm a DoorDash driver outside of the podcast music stuff that I do. And obviously I need a car to do that. So a couple years ago, my car, I drove over a giant boulder in the middle of the road on a dark road at like 10 p.m. at night. And I drove over this boulder and it cracked my oil pan, ended up having to replace my engine. As soon as I got the engine replaced, I got my car back, which took like 6 months on its own, which was way longer just because of insurance and stuff. But finally got my car back. So I was out of work for 6 months. Got my car back. As soon as I got my car back, my transmission went out. Kind of unrelated, I think. We're not really sure. I don't have that car anymore. But then my transmission went out. So then my car went back into the shop. So I almost didn't have a job well, I did have a job, but I didn't have a car to DoorDash in. So I had to keep renting cars, which then racked up debt on my credit card. So this past year was just a whirlwind of stuff. But that being said, financially, for that reason, I had to push off school, keep pushing off school. And my parents were willing to, I shouldn't say parents, my family were willing to pay for a traditional school, me to go to like a normal 4-year college. I had one, lined up already that I was supposed to go to. I have my associates. I went through community college. I have my associates in marketing, but I really wanted to pursue this music stuff. And knowing that Icon is like the school to go to if you want to work in the in the EDM industry. When they first started, they were only production school, but then they started their business school. And as soon as they, started their business school, I was like, okay, I for sure want to go to this school. So any other school, any other 4-year was in my mind off the table at that point. So that this year, my parents stepped in and they're willing to help me with school. So we're gonna make that happen this year. So I'm excited to go to Icon. Aiming for summertime for me to move down to LA.
Nice. That'll be exciting.
Yeah,
I can't wait to know more about the move and how that transition transpired for you.
And thankfully to you that you're here now, there is no way I could do school and podcast and work 40 hours a week. There is no way that I could add school to what I had going on already. So I appreciate you for coming on, and it was just divine timing for you to reach out to me on Twitter, and this kind of just happened. So it was really cool that you joined, and I'm so happy to have you here, a part of the team.
Yeah, it's what I'm here for. I'm excited. Okay, my last question I have is, and I know you ask this to everyone that comes on the podcast, is what is one thing you know now that you didn't know when you started the show?
I think the networking skills have been where the area that I've seen the most benefit or the most growth for myself is my networking skills. Reaching out, we've been a part of email exchanges. You've been a part of how many people are in contact with on like a daily basis. At first, like I didn't have those contacts. And a lot of it is cold reach out. But now that I've built relationships with, shout out Jason Euler is one of them. Shout out Nick Turwink is another one of them. Some of the guys that are in the position that I aim to be in my career someday have really taken me under their wing as like a mentor, and that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for my networking skills. So just honestly thankful for the relationships that I've built over the time.
Yeah, I love that. It's the most important thing in the music industry too, is just having those relationships and utilizing them and genuinely
it's all relationships
them.
too,
Yeah, 100%.
I wanted to talk about I don't think people really know how you joined the team or how that kind of unfolded. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that. starting with you randomly replied to a tweet of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And then I booked you for the podcast. So, how did I even pop up on your feed? Because do we just have mutuals or?
I honestly have no idea. I think I was looking up like EDM podcasts or more outlets in that regard, and you had come up.
Got it.
And I wanted to do my own podcast, and you were like, do you know anyone who needs guests? Or like, do you know any guests? And I was like, yeah, I have a whole list of people that I wanted to book for mine. And he's like, well, let me just interview you since I manage Kambi. And yeah, it just kind of transpired from there. I was just super curious about making a podcast, and you were already doing it. So it's a great opportunity to learn.
Yeah. And it just so happened that I was not directly looking for anyone, but I was like, it would be nice to like, I'm so spread so thin. Like it'd be nice to like share some responsibility with someone else. And you see other publications who have built out teams who have more than one person working on it. And for 3 years now, it's been me and a sound engineer. So it was like me doing all the work. So it was just perfect timing, I think, for both of us. I wanted to reflect also on just like last year. I know you joined us towards the end of the year, but just some things that I learned. One is to have more grace with myself. It's like I definitely previously I was so caught up in like staying consistent, which is super important still. But there was a couple times where like I went to Lost Lands, or I had a week off because I was sick, or there was a month that we took off because I had surgery. I had wisdom teeth. My wisdom teeth pulled out, and just when those things were happening, I was so used to being so overly consistent that it was like stressful for me. But it really taught me to have grace with myself and like be okay. Like you're not perfect. Things happen. Your personal life means more than this podcast will ever mean to you. Like you need to take care of yourself first, so that the podcast can continue when you're, feeling better, when you're recovered. And I shouldn't let myself, be stressed out over that. And I think another thing, again, with you being here as a team member, if things like that happen again, I don't know how you feel about this, but like if something comes up for you and I'm able to record, that way we don't have to take a week off. It can just like be me and the guest. Or if I need to take a week off, it could be you and the guest. So there's another host here to where we can have different dynamics and not have to take time off, because I know people are still like wanting episodes to be released from us. So what would be some of your reflection, I guess, for last year, both personally as well as like career wise?
Yeah, my biggest one, I feel like that the biggest lesson that I got from the last year, since I just moved to Seattle at the beginning of last year, so at the beginning of 2023. So I completely uprooted my life from Indiana, moved to Seattle, and then I was thrown into this whole new world where I had opportunities to go to shows every day, festivals all the time, like way more so than I had when I was living in Indiana, since I had to make a commute.
And especially now that you have your foot in the door in the industry, I don't know, but for me, it's like people are inviting me out and they're like, oh, I'll get you on guest list. I'll get you on guest list. I'll get you on guest list. And saying no to guest list is sometimes hard too. You're like, I get to go for free.
Yeah. But the biggest takeaway was just not having FOMO and just being okay with missing out and investing in my craft and knowing that the times that I have missed out on, I'm not really missing out, because there's always more to come, especially when you're working in this industry. There's always more fun to come and more fun to be had. A highlight for me, though, was definitely watching Kambi perform at Lost Lands with Resurrect. That was just such a high moment for me. It was like almost surreal seeing her up there. So it's really exciting just to be along with her, helping her out, and actually seeing like that come to life was probably my highlight.
Tell me a little bit more about Kambi, if people don't know your guys' relationship and kind of how she joined forces with you.
She's one of my best friends. We were friends before I moved to Seattle, and she had just ended up moving home from New York as well. And I had just mentioned my experience with managing artists in the past. And one day we were hanging out and she asked me to be her manager. So that was that. And I wasn't honestly looking for another client at the moment, but I've always had this huge passion for the music industry. And so once the opportunity presented itself, I was like, well, might as well try our hands in it again. Yeah, another go around. Because I'd been out of the music industry for probably a year or two since COVID. I mean, I just completely took time off and didn't have my first clients
I think that's happened to a lot of people.
Yeah,
that happened to a lot of people, especially people who were earlier in their career too, like younger in their career.
Yeah.
I feel like that, like, unless you had like momentum built up already to where you're like, all right, it doesn't make sense for me to go do something else. For a lot of people, even people who were some of the like the lower tier touring artists, a lot of them got other jobs during that time and, had to figure out different ways of income and now are, trying to find their way back into it. So yeah, I think you've done a great job at that, and the opportunities, I guess, just presented themselves, and now you're here.
Honestly, exactly. But she's a vocalist, has some really exciting stuff coming up.
Are you looking to bring on more people to your roster, or are you just working with her right now?
Yeah, I would love to. Not that I haven't had too much interest, but just no one's really came into my life that I've like been able to build a genuine relationship with, because that's the biggest one for me too, is I feel like a lot of these strong manager-client relationships are built off having actual personal friendship. And those are the kind of people that I would genuinely want to work for, as I am still learning. It's not like I'm going to be the manager with the most benefit to you. I'm going to want to work with you because we can grow together and learn together. So I haven't really found anyone at that level yet. I do have another one of my really good friends who makes hip hop music that I'm consulting on his new album that's going to be coming out.
Oh, sweet.
So that's exciting. He's
a little different
kind
realm.
of on there. Yeah, a very different realm. I don't discriminate.
Have you seen any big difference from what you're doing in that, in that for that person versus like what you do EDM-wise?
I feel like right now with both artists at the stage that they're at, it's really just like brand consultation and like project rollouts and advising them on like art creation and everything like that. So, I mean, there hasn't been too much differentiation yet when it comes to pitching and everything like that. That'll be completely different sources, but other than that, not so much yet.
It's almost like I feel like the music industry as a whole operates very similarly. They're all every genre is kind of structured the same. It's just like different networks of people.
Yep, exactly.
It's like once you're in one, it's hard to build. You got to build a whole different network if you're trying to work in a different genre. Yeah. All right. Well, there's our reflections. I wanted to get into, and we're going to be doing more of these just host podcasts, but I want to get into our topic session because this past month there was a lot of stuff as the year kind of wrapped up. And one of those first things is the EDMMYS. I've been talking about for a long time that I think that, growing up loving other genres of music, watching CMAs for country, watching AMAs for American Music Awards, all these award shows that happen. I thought about this a long time ago, but why isn't there one for EDM? Kind of the same reason why I started this podcast. Why isn't there a radio show for EDM? We need to expand this a little bit more and make it like a real thing. So it was really cool. And I didn't know they had it last year, but they did. I think they did a better job at marketing it this year. But the EDMMYS put on by EDMMANIAC. And I didn't know this either, but you have to register to be able to vote for these categories. So you can do so on their website. But I wanted to go through some of the categories. Festival of the Year, Breakout Artist of the Year, Album of the Year, Best Merch, Best Artist Fan Base. The list continues. Creator of the Year. Creator of the Year is one that I would personally love to get us to someday. But we wanted to go kind of through some of these. In your personal opinion, is there anything that you think they should have added or, done differently for the EDMMYS that they didn't do this year?
I think they definitely could have added the Best Label category.
Yeah.
That was a huge one. And I mean, personally, I would just want to see more smaller artists on there, but I understand it's like general EDM, not just like dubstep or like best different genres or like artist specific in the different genres, like best artists for each one. I think there could have just been more diversity there.
Yeah. Then who would be in your for like best label? You brought that up first. What would be? Let's just talk dubstep since like bass music is kind of what we focus on on this podcast. But for our votes or for your vote for best label, what would you say is your favorite this year?
See, it's gonna sound basic, but I think Deadbeats. But they had just like a couple of songs of the summer for me, like the Levity Flip It. Yeah. They had the Counting.
Oh yeah, they did release that.
I was waiting like hands like on all fours for Glitch to come out from Alley Cat. And they also had the Tape B Oversaturated EP.
Oh, that's right.
Oversaturation.
Yeah. All great.
Yeah.
I forgot that Levity was released on Dead Beats.
They picked him up right away.
Damn,
Real quick.
that song popped off. Yeah. They must have had like a previous like relationship somehow and saw that song coming or something, because that was quick. Also, I didn't know that Alley Cat released on there either. I haven't been paying much attention to Dead Beats in the last couple of years. But I did know about the Hamd song that came out was a collab with Zed's Dead, right?
I'm Perfect?
I think. No, maybe I'm thinking of something else. Zed's Dead songs released. Well, there was a collab with someone. I forget who it was with. Pretty sure they did a collab. I don't remember what it was called, but anyways, besides the point. So yeah, Zed's Dead for your label. Damn, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with. I'll have to go with Rude Service for this. It's a toss up between Rude Service and Cannibal, and I think for me this year, both did really well. Like, there's definitely other labels that are notable. Excision, with his label Subsidia, that released they started that 2 years ago, I think, 3 years ago. Been a while. But I think why I like Rude Service and Cannibal and some of these other labels better is because they're more like hand selected. They're not like, I feel like Subsidia has just gotten like too oversaturated. Yeah. And it's cool that they're putting on younger artists, and it's awesome that they have a stage that they feed all those artists into at Lost Lands. And I think they do that at Base Canyon as well, right? They have a
Subsidia stage, yeah.
Smaller stage for like the Subsidia, yeah. So I think that's awesome, and giving smaller artists a chance. I think they need to be a little bit more specific about who they release with, because I think there's more power in growing an artist that way versus like having 50 artists overshadow someone. So yeah, I think Rude Service and Bear Girls, and also BTSM with Cannibal, does a good job with that. And a lot of their artists have released previously on Subsidia as well. So there's a lot of younger artists that have been kind of, crossover. So best merch. Who do you think's got the best merch this past year?
I mean, going outside of artists, I think it's up to like a lot of third parties now to be releasing merch. Like 808.
What? 808? Yeah.
Is always killing it on their jerseys. Just like
they do like custom stuff.
They have, yeah.
Like you can hit them up to do custom, yeah.
So I think they're killing it.
That'd be sick to do stuff for. That'd be cool to get some jerseys for Underground Society this year from 808. That'd be fire. Let's make that a goal this year.
There you go.
I'd love to do that. Yeah, merch for me, I think, and I asked you this prepping for this, but I think Subtronics, but I don't know if his streetwear stuff counts as merch. Because I think his new streetwear line is the coolest stuff that an artist, like clothing that artist has produced this year, but I don't know if that would be considered merch. Like, because he has a whole separate merch stuff for the Subtronics brand. I mean, Excision always kills it with his merch. Who else? Yeah, there's only a few guys that I think are that are at the top. Everyone else kind of just we'll make a pashmina with our name on it, and we'll make general stuff with, yeah. Boogie T, I think, also has a cool brand concept around his merch. He doesn't release a ton of stuff, but it's very unique and it's very Boogie T-esque. Personal album of the year or artist, what do you think for that? Who's your favorite artist or album this past year?
Okay, my favorite artist and my favorite album are two different people. My favorite album was definitely Tales of a Stoned Ape from Gorilla T.
Yeah.
Loved it. It's just so...
We need to get him on the podcast. Yes. Shout out Gridlock. They're also in charge of, or they also work, I should not say in charge of, the artists are in charge. That's a whole separate conversation. But they're signed with, they're both signed with Gridlock, which is Amorphic and some other top guy, but Blue Pill, bunch of guys. So yeah, shout out to them. But yeah, I have a relationship with them, so we should definitely try and get Tate on this year. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. But it's just such an uplifting album, so that was definitely my favorite. It's easy listening.
Yeah, it's not dark. It's just wobbly and fun, and yeah.
But my artist of the year would have definitely been Mersive.
Yeah, artist. Mersive, yeah, fire.
Yeah. He had the best tour in my
he went. That was his breakout headline, right?
Yeah,
headline tour.
Yeah. And he absolutely crushed it.
Because I was I saw him on tour with Liquid, I think last year. Taboo, I think that was last year, maybe it was the year before. The last couple of years have gone by way too fast and they all run together. But yeah, I think whenever the last time I saw Liquid Stranger on tour, there was the immersive Taboo Cannibalists, I think. But yeah, it was that
Nice
tour.
lineup.
But it was cool to see Immersive play or tour, do a headline tour by himself. Do you know who was on support for that?
Tape B was on support.
Ah, yeah.
It was good.
Yep. It's cool to see Tape B take off this year too. Mm-hmm. He just did headline. He just did one of his first headlines on like a big venue. Was it Brooklyn Mirage? I don't remember. Some big venue that he just did a headline at, and that was very cool to see from him. Like just kind of starting to get his footing at the beginning of the year to like first headline performance. It was very cool to see artists like that grow. I think for me, album of the year. Yeah, I mean, on Spotify, it says something outside of EDM, or not outside of EDM, outside of dubstep. It was Lay Youth's album. That was my top album for the year. But within dubstep, I feel like there's so many singles and stuff released. It's hard to keep up with like who has albums released. I don't know if I have an answer. Artist, I would say it's got to be Subtronics.
Nice.
It's always going to be Subtronics. I just think he pushes boundaries and his creativity and how he sets himself apart, and just like also like as a quote unquote content creator, as all artists kind of nowadays have to be. He does a great job with his content. He does a great job with his like personal branding and just all around. He's an artist that I've always looked at as like someone who is doing things correctly and genuinely and not trying to screw people over or fake his way to the top. Yeah. So I think, I love Subtronics. Did you see his, I'll try and find the video and put it on the YouTube video, so it should pop up on the screen right now. Did you see when he was playing New Year's, randomly, there's a video of him like showing memes to the camera and like putting it up on it. Yeah. Little things like that is why I love Subtronics.
Shrek memes.
Funko Pop AI, that should be also popped up on the screen right now, blew up on Twitter. One day I opened, or X, sorry, Elon Musk. One day I opened up X and there was like Dubstep FB I saw first, and I saw a bunch of different artists posting theirs. And at first I was like, okay, enough of this. But then it was like, okay, this is actually kind of creative. So I went and like one of my friends, there was a template that people were sending around so you can make your own. And one of my friends, actually one of my artists, Trends, sent me the template, and we were able to make our own. And I just think it was super creative and super genius marketing for Funko Pop, because I feel like a lot of us, like, we're not, if you're not a collector, you probably don't have one unless it's like they make some for a TV show you like or maybe whatever. But most people aren't collectors, and to see, especially in the EDM scene, this randomly kind of blow up, create little characters of ourselves was fun. What do you think of that happening on X?
I liked how, like when you went in and made your own, I really liked how customizable it was.
Yeah.
It was also a great way for fan engagement. Like I saw like fans making them for the artists, and some of them came out really cool. Oh
yeah. People were making stuff. Yep. Cause I saw like Benda, he posted and he was like, I don't know how to make this. Can someone make this for me? And then a few different people were making with different outfits and different, accessories and stuff. Yeah, it's cool. I wanted to bring up, since it was AI, what are your thoughts on AI in the music industry?
As far as production itself, I don't want to say too much on. I just feel like it takes the creativity out of a lot of it if you're using it to make the music, because I feel like one huge thing about making music is the creative struggle that you have to go through to create that, and it kind of just takes that humanness out of it. But as far as marketing in the music industry, I think it is going to be irreplaceable.
Genius. Yeah. Very genius. Because like we just said, how Subtronics does a great job at like his content creation. More people are like, most people who were trying to build a name for themselves as artists have to be content creators too, alongside of their music stuff. And I think a lot of people might not like doing the content creation stuff, and it'll give them a resource to be able to still market themselves without having to put too much like time or effort into like that side of things, and just but it'll make it easier for them to focus more on their music, which is what their true passion is. So exactly. Yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know if if we're gonna get to a point to, I know even art now, and there's the blockchain and NFTs to authenticate things, and as AI continues to grow, that's how we're gonna be able to tell that things are authentic. And I'm curious to see how that's gonna take place, and when it comes to like music production. I know there's already tools. You guys can go back to the Bandles and Soundry AI episode that we did. Talk to them who are the creators of a AI model, multi-model, I should say, and they gave us a lot of great information. But they are how they differentiate themselves. They're an AI tool for producers, so it's not taking all of the creativity out, but they're just creating a tool to. As of what it is right now, they want to expand, but it's just a sample production tool. So instead of going on like Splice or something and pulling a sample to put into your song, you can tell the AI exactly what you want and what key you want, and it'll give you a bass for a song. So creating kind of the fundamentals of that and then still allowing your creativity to expand out past that, I think is a really cool angle that they're doing. But yeah, I think there's got to be some form of like NFT blockchain authentication, something that needs to be developed for music, because it's easy to like throw like a watermark on the picture to authenticate it, or it's easy to like find an image and on the blockchain or whatever. But yeah, I don't think they've figured out a way for that to happen with music yet. So I'm curious to see how the future of that's gonna go. What else? Oh, we wanted to talk about Grizz taking time off.
Yeah.
I know that's something that you were surprised about.
That was not on my 2023 bingo card at all.
Yeah.
It's important to like listen to your body and take time. And I guess he's just taking the time off to rest and focus on himself and his personal life and get new inspiration from music. And I mean, what we've talked about before too is you can't be on all the time 24/7. Like even what you were talking about in the beginning of the episode is just
previously,
needing to take care of yourself.
We all have personal lives, and we all have to put ourselves first, because if you don't, this industry will eat you alive. It'll push you and push you and push you, and it to a certain point, like you gotta make time for your friends and family. You gotta make time for rest. Even like I treasure the times that for years I was working from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to bed with everything I had on my plate, and yeah, I've just now learned to treasure my time of like just being able to sit down for a couple hours at the end of the day and watch some TV to unwind. Like instead of just being like, all right, it's 11 o'clock, I'm at my computer, time to go to bed. Like, and it's just like hard shut off. I think giving yourself just time to like unwind is important, which is something super small, but in the overall picture. But yeah, I think Grizz taking that time off with as much as he was touring and as much music he was putting out, and that dude worked his ass off. And does work his ass off. So I think he definitely deserves it. I'm sad that he's leaving. I'm sad that I've only seen Grizz, I think, like once at Lost Lands a couple years ago. I'd love to, kills it. Love Grizz. I'd love to see him perform again, but I guess until he comes back, we won't get that opportunity.
I got my first and only Grizz at Electric Forest, and it was the most magical thing. So I'm looking forward to the day that I can experience that again.
How was E-Forest, dude?
Oh my gosh.
It's a festival I've always wanted to go to.
So good. I got to go in 2022, and it was just so magical. I mean, the production, obviously amazing, but what makes it so special is everything that you can do outside of the sets. Like, you just get to run around in an entire world, meet so many new people, and everyone is just so kind.
The art installations and stuff is crazy good.
Yeah, and just like the community building they have, like the Giving Tree and the scavenger hunt and everything like that, just makes
Giving Tree, what is that?
You like take a gift and you put it under the Giving Tree, and then you put like another gift down and grab whatever you want off of it.
Oh, okay. So it's like an exchange type of thing, like take one, leave one type of thing.
Like massive take
That's
one.
Sick. Someone was doing that in their campsite at Lost Lands this past year. I was like, oh, that's a cool idea. That way it's just like a communal, like, take one, leave one. And like even like small stuff like chapstick, like unused chapstick, or like sunscreen, or like shit that you can use for the festival. Yeah, it's cool. I've always wanted to go to Electric Forest. It's just, it sucks that it sells out so damn quick. To be like on it.
I got to drive the first year, like no problem with all my camping supplies because I was still in Indiana. But being out here now, I'm like, it's a little bit harder to get to.
You got to fly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know this year I went to Lost Lands for the first time, or not first time, camped at Lost Lands for the first time. Sorry. Yeah, having to like find like stuff that rolled up tight enough to put in a separate suitcase and having to like do a whole separate carry-on and bring a tent and like fly all that stuff. Insane.
Yeah. It's a lot.
It's a lot of work. So yeah, driving that stuff would be way easier than having your car there and stuff. Cause yeah, once we got there too, like I worked parking at Lost Lands and we had to, they gave us staff camping. So we stayed there for the first couple of days, but then we wanted to stay with our friends once the festival started. So we had to walk like across car camping at Lost Lands with all of our shit. And we didn't have any we didn't have a car. We didn't have anything to help us transport it over there. And it was like because we were working nights too. So we stayed up all night and then we didn't go to sleep. We then moved our stuff and then we slept a few hours and then it was day one. So it was just like a lot. It's a lot when you don't have a car. Too much work. And I love camping. I grew up camping and, normal camping. I love camping. But yeah, camping at a festival is different.
Yeah, it is. I'm about it at the time where I'm like, if I'm going to travel, we should maybe just get an RV because then we don't have to fly with everything. And that makes it easy. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, in the future, Electric Force would be fun to do that at. EDC would be fun to do that at. And then also Lost Lands would be a great time to do an RV. Oh, kind of just reflecting on like the holiday season. Christmas was great for me. I think we were talking a little bit previously, but just Christmas, like the thing that I like about Christmas is getting together as family. And I wish that Christmas was more like a second Thanksgiving, because the one thing I dislike about Christmas is the gifts. I don't understand why we have to give. Why? Don't understand. If I want something during the year, I'm just going to go buy it for myself. Like, why do we got to wait? And then buying things for other people. I don't want to get gifts. Like, and then this year, like, I didn't really have the money to like buy my whole family gifts. And then they got me stuff. And then, I'm 26. I'm an adult now. Like, I make my own money. You kind of get put in a position sometimes where you feel bad that you didn't get other people things. And yeah, the whole gift thing is.
It's a lot.
How was your Christmas and holiday season?
My Christmas was great. Just got to spend time with family out here and catch up.
What do you do for? I know you moved away from Indiana. What do you typically do for as far as I know you're not super close to your family, or you live close to your family anymore?
Yeah, I'm super lucky. My boyfriend's family is amazing. They do like a Christmas Eve party every year with all of their family friends, and we have like super fresh oysters, and everyone brings food, and
oysters are so good.
Punch and several bottles of wine between everyone. So it's always a really good time. And then just hung out Christmas Day and did presents, and yeah, it was just chill. Watched a movie. Watched The Grinch. Was the holiday film of the year.
Nice. One of my favorites. Mm-hmm. What's your favorite Christmas movie?
Ooh, A Christmas Vacation, probably.
Okay. Yep. That's in my top 3. Nice. I got to go with Elf. Yeah. I got to go with Elf. Yeah. Will Ferrell.
Crank that one every year for sure.
Always been my top Christmas movie. Was there a gift or anything that stood out to you? Was there a moment or a present that you received or anything that stood out this year?
We got Kraken tickets. So I'm going to go to my first Kraken game in January.
What is that?
The Seattle Kraken, the hockey team.
Oh, cool. I don't follow hockey at all. The only sport that I really follow is UFC.
Okay, nice.
I really like watching fighting. Yeah. And I grew up around like racing and stuff, but yeah. Christmas for me was, there was no, okay, I guess I can say my favorite gift, even though I don't agree with the gift giving thing. My aunt gave me, it's actually right under my desk, a little it holds like 9 cans, and I'm a huge like Ghost energy drink person, so I always like have a case at my house. And so just being able to have it under my desk in my office is cool now, but it's just like a 9-can holder, little Frigidaire refrigerator, and it has a little like Bluetooth speaker on it too.
Cute.
So I thought that was a really cool gift. Yeah.
Nice. So Ghost Energy is your energy drink of choice?
Oh my goodness, I used to be a coffee every day person, and now it's a Ghost every day.
I'm a Red Bull person myself.
Yeah, I think this all Ghost actually ties way back to me, why, liking content and stuff like that. A lot of their sponsored athletes are like vloggers and YouTubers in the fitness space that I've been following, because I used to compete in bodybuilding. So it's guys that I've been following for like 10, 15 years that are Ghost athletes. And then Ghost started, they were one of the first initial, like I remember when Ghost was launched, and then now they're, they have energy drinks in 7-Eleven and Safeway. And like, it's cool to see like a brand like that take off, and why wouldn't I support it? And I love their product. I love, the flavoring, and I love that there's 0 calories too. Yeah, Ghost is my, yeah. If anyone wants to get me anything, give me Ghost. All right. New Year's resolutions. Do you have any New Year's resolutions for this year?
My New Year's resolution is to do another drop for Sensory Overload, which is a clothing brand that I have. We've done 1 drop so far, and just gonna.
What did you release already? What did you do on your first release?
Yeah, I just did 2 different kind of t-shirts. We did a black one with the Sensory Overload embroidered, and then it was like a purple, pink, blue tie-dye with the Sensory Overload embroidery, and hat. 2 beanies too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Who do you use? How'd you find manufacturing and stuff for that?
I wholesale everything, and then we get them embroidered.
Okay. Got it. Cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know there's a hat company that I want to try and maybe make Underground Society hats with, or even for you if you want to make hats with. They do actual like custom patchwork. I don't know if you've ever seen Branded Bills. Super nice hats. They're all like, you can buy, the company is made to make custom hats and like do for like sports teams or for, companies or whatever like that. So I'll send you the link, but yeah, Branded Bills is definitely a company that I wanted to work with. I was just curious, like there's a bunch of ways that you could go about it. You could go to Teespring, you can go to Alibaba and actually get stuff manufactured and made. You can use so many different routes. So I was just curious how you do yours. Anything else?
I would definitely just want to stay consistent with marketing with that and like personal branding. But the ultimate one, I think, is just continuing to grow my network and meet people and show my worth for opportunities.
Well, with the podcast, it'll help you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is that one of the main reasons why you wanted to start your own?
Just to network? Not really. I just wanted to get to know people and hear their stories.
Okay. Yeah. It was, for me, that's very much similar to me too. Like I didn't really even think about the networking aspect of it. And then someone commented, I don't even know who it was, a while ago. They were like, man, I wish I had your networking skills. And I was like, that's just a byproduct, honestly. Like it just kind of happens. But the power of a podcast is welcome.
Yeah. What about your resolutions?
Yeah. New Year's resolutions for me is to, a lot of people know that I'm a Christian. I've talked about it a lot. I've had Christian artists on before in our scene, and I'm growing. I don't know why, kind of as a Christian, I don't know if other people who are listening to this can relate to this or not, but you kind of go through like ebbs and flows of your relationship with Jesus is what I found. And I'm right now experiencing like a massive high in my relationship with Jesus. I'm very close, and I want to be even closer. But the one thing that I haven't done ever, even though I was raised around the church and stuff, is read the whole Bible. And this year, I'm actually going to read through the whole Bible. And I think it'll just make me even closer to God, make me even closer to like my walk with him, and, bring me closer to my goals and, my dream life. So I'm excited to embark on that journey. And I'm already a week in almost now. So, and I've been consistent. So yeah, that's my New Year's resolution. More personal and that side of things. But yeah, I would say to be fair, to I guess, add to have like a music industry one is, I mean, I'm happy to have you here, and I think by me sharing some of the workload and stuff will give me time to focus on other areas in which we could grow. And I think by having kind of a tag team now with it, it's going to help a lot of the growth of the podcast. And that's been something that I've been obviously working on for a long time. So I'm excited to see where that's going to go. I'm not attaching any expectations to it, but that's also kind of a goal too, is just grow this platform.
Yay. Yeah, well, I'm here to help you do that.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's kind of going to wrap us up. Just to kind of touch on the new direction. Yeah, like we said in the beginning, it'll be once a month is our goal right now for just to try things out. We're going to do once a month, just host-only episodes. Drop in the description what you guys think we should call these, because we do kind of want to separate it in some format from our interviews. So maybe we'll we'll call the other ones like Underground Society Interviews, or I don't know. We got to think of a name, but we are going to be doing once a month, host only. And then the rest obviously will be interviews like we normally do with both Halley and I, or if like we talked about too, if one of us needs to take a week off, we might just get one of the hosts and a guest, or we'll see. We'll work it, see how it works out. But yeah, for now, that's what our goals are. And I think that's it. Thank you guys for joining and listening today. Thank you, Halley, for being here. Welcome as a host to the Underground Society. Yeah, I'm just super excited where this year is going to take us and where the future is going to take both of us. So thank you for being here.
Of course. Thanks, everybody.